Oh man, we are back. So I apologize. It's been about 2 months since I last posted a video. There is a lot of stuff that's happened in between the last video and then right now in this moment with this video coming out. So first things first, I was helping my friend Dan Veer prepare for the World Championships that was coming up in August. He's Singapore's national champion, for anyone that isn't aware. He ended up finishing 31st at World, so he had a pretty good run, which was pretty cool, and it was awesome to be part of that team building process and helping him practice and so on and so forth. And then the other thing is immediately after the World Championships and Dan Veer made his great run, I actually got hired at a new job. So getting settled in and getting used to like the work environment and so on and so forth, that has been consuming a lot of my time. But I'd say now I'm like relatively settled in, so videos are going to be coming out again in a little bit more of a steady flow. With that being said, in the meantime, even though all those things happened the last 2 months, I have been keeping a pulse on what's been going on with VGC. Obviously, we're back in Regulation H, and I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. This format might be a little bit cooked. So for anyone that doesn't remember, I've had a pretty good deal of success in Regulation H. Back in last December during the Grand Challenge number 3, I finished second place behind Federico Camporesi, who is an international champion and two-time Grand Challenge champion. So like I've had success in the format. But the thing that I always had an issue with regards to Regulation H is I always thought the format was very top-heavy. So what do I mean by that? The thing is, once you get to like past the 15th most used Pokemon, typically, like I'll actually even pull this up as an example. We're just going to look at a random VR tour. So once you get to around like 15th in usage, after that there's like a major drop off in strength from like the top 15 Pokemon and then so on and so forth. Because let's be honest, like Mousehold isn't nearly as strong as like Golden Go or Incin, Sneasler, Rillaboom, Ursaluna, so on and so forth. Not to say that Mousehold is bad. Like, I don't want to make that very clear. It's a good Pokemon still, but there is clearly a drop-off in strength after, like, the 15th most used Pokemon. Even here, right? Like, you get to, like, 15th, and then there's a drop-off. Like, Tyranitar has a million weaknesses. Primarina can be used as, like, kind of a niche thing. It's, like, fine. Talonflame, I don't know. People love Talonflame. I've never thought it was like that amazing, but people might disagree with me in that regard. But you have to admit, like Talonflame is not not nearly as strong as like Incin. And one of the things that really worried me about Regulation H was that since it was so top heavy and the stuff that was like and the top usage in the format was so good that I felt there was going to be a team that would end up being found in which like it was going to be really, really difficult to beat. And we're kind of at that stage now where this team has kind of arisen in the last few weeks. It's won multiple regionals. It won Frankfurt. It just won Milwaukee. I think the finals match was like a mirror matchup between this team and the other than like maybe one variation. I can't really remember in the moment, but it's won VR tours. Even the VR tours it hasn't won, it's got like second place or top 4 or whatever. And it really makes you kind of ask the question, like, what makes this team in particular so good? I think the thing that makes this team really good is that it just covers so many different matchups, and even matchups for this team that are not necessarily seen as favorable, it still can win those games. Like, you have a way to control weather with Ninetales. It's very disruptive with Icy Wind and Encore. It gets access to Aurora Veil, like if you want to use that instead to give the team a bit of a defensive boost. It gets Disable. It's really tough to switch in on Ninetales as well, just because even though it doesn't have a very high special attack stat, Ice is one of the best offensive types in the game, so it's really tough to switch in on Blizzard. Plus, you have the variability of just like getting frozen, which is also another thing that could happen. Golden Go's Golden Go. It could set up, and even without setting up, it still could do lots of damage with Make It Rain and Shadow Ball. Has a very nice defensive typing with Steel and Ghost, and then a nice Terra typing with Water to kind of flip those matchups against Fire types. You have access to double Fake Out and Rillaboom and Incineroar. You have Yawn with Ursaluna, which could force things out. It's really tough to switch in on this team because not only of like Blizzard and stuff being such a good like offensive, typing with ice, but you also have like Rillaboom, Golden Go, Ursaluna, and Sneasler, which is really, really hard to switch into. So this team, it covers rain, it covers most weathers actually, it covers sand, it covers sun to an extent, even though I would say sun is like not favorable for this team, but you still could actually beat it just because of the Incin and then the Golden Goat go in Terra Water. So yeah, it's kind of led to like this situation where the meta hasn't really shifted, and I don't know if it necessarily will shift, which I usually try to refrain from saying just because the way that VGC works is that the formats tend to be very circular in the way that it proceeds. So like the format starts off with like new pieces, then there's like standard teams that arise, then a team is put in place that beats those standard teams, then the format kind of shifts back to where it was at the beginning with like some of these cool options, and it just keeps going around and around and around in a circle, right? So it's very circular in the way that it plays, but we've kind of hit a point where I don't think this format as compared to others is circular necessarily, just because again, with it being so top heavy, like, it's kind of led to this team. And then if you want to use, like, Pokemon to beat this team, like, a Pokemon that has kind of popped in my mind, which might have a good matchup here, is, like, regular form Arcanine. But then again, like, regular form Arcanine, like, once you start comparing it to these Pokemon, it's, like, it's not anywhere near any of them in strength. And it's led to a situation where, like, you have two options. You could either run this team in particular, which leads to a multitude of issues where all of a sudden, like now, if you're running a mirror, you run into like a mirror matchup, let's say, right now you're dealing with speed ties and then so on and so forth, and just trying to win speed ties and doing like these 50-50s is not great. And then if you make a team that's specifically meant to hard counter this one and beat it, well, you run into a situation where you have so many resources that are dedicated to beating this team that now all of a sudden you can't beat any of the other teams in the format. Like, you can't beat Rain, you can't beat Sun, you can't beat Spam, you can't beat Trick Room, can't beat Dozogiri, and so on and so forth. So, like, that's the situation that we're kind of in right now. And it's really not good. And then it doesn't help with the fact that, with there being a lack of Japanese players right now, usually Japan, for anyone that is, played the game for a long time, they're typically at the forefront as far as innovation and creativity when it comes to VGC. Like, the meta typically shifts the way that Japan shifts because they're just simply, the best region when it comes to this game. It's not even close. And then with there being a lack of a Japanese presence right now, because a lot of Japanese players are playing Regulation J, it's led to like little innovation in the format. So that's also kind of another issue. Not to say that like other regions can't innovate, like Europe or, North America or Latin America or so on. They absolutely can, but, Japan has a tendency to be a lot quicker with those innovations. So yeah, right now the format's in like a really, really bad spot because this team's just dominating. It's really hard to beat because of how many tools it has in its kit. And then if you do create a team to beat it, then that team just basically loses to everything else. So, yeah, I genuinely, like, I don't want to say I don't know what to do because I have ideas on, like, how to maybe get around this team. But even then, like, those ideas that I've tested out were a theory, and then they just didn't end up working. So, yeah. And then the other thing is, like, with this format, there's such a little time left. I think this format ends in, like, late November, early December. I might be wrong. It might be January. I can't really remember right now, but there's such little time left for innovation to occur that, like, I don't know. I kind of see this team winning and doing well in the foreseeable future. So, yeah, I think Regulation H right now is in a really, really bad spot. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. The thing is, I'm going to have like more cheery videos in the future, like me playing games again and stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great day, and I will see you all next time.